7 weather with meteorologist Erika Delgado.
All right, South Florida, drier conditions overall. Temperatures feeling warm, 83 right now in Key West. Marathon all through Key Largo and into Miami, 82 in Fort Lauderdale. Feels like temperatures are already in the upper 80s to some low 90s, specifically across Key West. 91 right now in Key West. 89 is what it feels like in Marathon, Key Largo, and in Miami. 87 in Fort Lauderdale. We have seen a few isolated showers push through South Florida. Right now, just one isolated shower near Little River area. And other than a few sprinkles across the upper Keys, we've been mostly dry this morning. Overall, a big improvement from what we saw yesterday, and the storm risk yesterday was all along the Atlantic coast. Today will be across interior sections of South Florida, and that's what you see, those darker greens there, as we're starting to go back to more of a late spring, early summer type of pattern, where we do see morning showers, a few isolated, and then all of that activity shifts farther inland. We still have a front to the north of us here that's going to begin to weaken and eventually will begin to lift out of our area, and as it does so, it will allow for drier conditions to return to the forecast. Tomorrow we are warm, dry for most of South Florida, but it's all going to be about the warm temperatures and how steamy it feels through the second half of the week. High pressure building into the region will help keep things quiet for us here through at least Thursday and Friday. Marine forecasts for Miami, Dade, and Broward looking pretty good. We don't have to deal with the storms offshore today. Seas 2 feet or less, that should go down heading into the afternoon. Biscayne Bay, a light chop. Heading into the Florida Keys, coastal waters a light to moderate chop with seas beyond the reef at most building 2 to 5 feet. So use caution if heading along the Florida Straits. Otherwise, along Hawk Channel should be pretty good. At most, we'll see it about 2 feet. Your next tide change is coming up this hour, and it's low tide in Fort Lauderdale at 10:46. 10:55 in Miami. Key West, your low tide will be at 12:22 this afternoon. So for today, a mix of sun and clouds, isolated showers, that's what we're seeing now. And then later this afternoon, a lot of that activity will just shift inland. Temperatures will be similar to yesterday. We're in the mid to upper 80s. And then by ahead tonight, still feeling quite muggy outside, just not as much as it was last night, since we won't be dealing with all that heavy rain today. Temperatures overnight will feel warm, though, mid to upper 70s. And then we'll do it all over again. The next few days looking quiet, but again, it's going to feel quite warm with the added humidity. And that's going to be the case for Mother's Day weekend. On Mother's Day, we could see maybe a chance of an afternoon storm, slightly better chance heading into early next week. That's your 7 on 10 forecast.
7 weather with meteorologist Erika Delgado.
All right, South Florida, warm conditions. That's the main story for us here. After days of thunderstorms across the area, we're finally seeing a break from it, but now we're shifting our focus to the heat. Temperatures right now are in the mid-80s, 85 in Fort Lauderdale. Miami all the way through mid-80s into the Florida Keys, but you factor in the humidity and it feels like 91 right now in Miami, feeling like 92 in Fort Lauderdale. Those feels like temperatures in the 90s extending into the Keys, where it feels like 93 right now in Key West. So we're already getting to those dog days of summer and the late spring. It begins to feel very humid every day and feel steamy because of the humidity. But at least we're quiet as far as the rain and the thunderstorms are concerned. We've seen a few isolated showers pushing through. We'll keep that chance into the afternoon, but we're really not expecting a whole lot of rainfall. The focal point for storms today will be across interior sections of South Florida and out towards the Gulf Coast. For us here, we'll just see those morning showers to the next few days, and that's the focal point, that darker green, for some strong to severe thunderstorms. For us here, interior sections of South Florida, we'll see those storms. It's very humid out, steamy. That front that remains, that's been stalled across central Florida, will remain nearby, but the next few days you'll notice is slowly lifting out of the area, which is going to allow for quiet conditions for us here. We're dry for the most part on Wednesday. The warmth, the big story. Heading into Thursday, though, we still have that front to the north of us, but for us here, we remain quiet as high pressure tries to build into the region, leaving steamy conditions each afternoon through the rest of the work week. Your boating forecast for Miami, Dade, and Broward, there are no advisories. Seas 2 feet or less. Biscayne Bay, a light chop. Heading into the Florida Keys, also pretty quiet. Coastal waters, a light to moderate chop. Seas beyond the reef could occasionally reach as high as 2 to 5 feet, but overall no marine advisories for South Florida. We had our low tides earlier this morning, and now high tide will be coming up next, beginning in Fort Lauderdale at 4:54. 5:23 p.m. is the high tide in Miami. Key West, your high tide will be at 7:01 p.m. So for today, a mix of sun and clouds, isolated showers. Temperatures will be reaching into the mid to upper 80s, and it'll feel like the 90s. It already does. Heading into tonight, mild, muggy, mainly dry, mid to upper 70s across the board. And really the next few days will be a lot like each other. Warm, toasty temperatures each afternoon. afternoon, possibly reaching into the upper 80s for some, but it will be humid, so it's going to feel, you're going to feel how heavy the air is. Heading into the Mother's Day weekend, we're trying to see if we're going to see showers and thunderstorms. It looks like most of the weekend should be dry, but we'll have a chance for afternoon storms Sunday, especially into early next week. That's your 7 on 10 forecast.